Hi, my name is Clayton Wilson. I'm the product manager for the UTAdvanced Temperature Controller at Yokogawa Corporation of America. Today I want to talk to you about the UTAdvanced Controller's software, which is the LL50A. With this software you can configure the unit and program some of the more advanced ladder features that are in that product. So hopefully this demonstration will show you how to use it and how it could be a benefit to you in future projects that you may have. What we're going to talk about now is the software. So it's a travesty if you don't show the customer the software on the UTAdvanced. The nice thing about the software is we only use it as a tool to sell the controllers. Realistically, I could care less if we make money on this or not. The nice thing about it is the software runs whether you're using the cable that we have provided with it, or if you're using the Ethernet connection or RS-485. If you're using any of those methods, you can download the software from the UTAdvanced website for free. Your customer can do that. So our goal is we want them to use the software to get familiar with it and to use it. And the fact that it's easy to use, we want them to use it versus trying to struggle with it from the front panel. The front panel is not that difficult, but the software makes life a lot easier. Plus, there's some really neat things with the software that you're not going to get by doing it from the front panel, which I want to show you here in a little bit. So I got the software running here, and I opened up a new file, and it's asking me to configure the unit. If I have the unit there, and then if you're demoing this, one thing you want to do is you want to upload the system data. You don't want to configure it. You can, and there's a data plate on the side of the instrument. And that data plate shows all the information on the controller as far as the model code, the serial number, all that good stuff. And that's fine. And if you have this, go ahead and configure the instrument using that. But I find it much easier to upload the system data. And that way, this is going to tell the software exactly what it is. So I'm online now. I've got all the information here. So let's go ahead and upload system data. And now the software has configured the software for the controller that I'm using. I'm going to hit OK. And now I'm ready to go. So at this point, the software is broken up into, in this case, a couple areas. We have the set parameters here, which allows us to set up the controller with the inputs, the outputs, the control modes, all of those. And everything's broken down into easy individual menus. So everything dealing with the basic control of the instrument is going to be found in the control menu. Control type, PID, set point numbers. The PV is going to have anything regarding the inputs. So the input type. So I got thermocouples, I got RTDs, volts, millivolts, 4 to 20. Anything is going to be selected in this menu. The ranges, the units, Fahrenheit, Celsius, all these are going to be set up from this point. The outputs are going to be selected here, and this allows you to set up the main control output or the retransmission output and do anything special with those outputs there as well. Now, if you're looking at this and you're like, God, there's a lot of parameters here, no fear with this. Right now, if you look here at the very top, this is set for the professional mode or pro. Again, doing a demo, this might not be the best way to do this. It might be good to show this, but not the best way to do a demo because it is a little intimidating. Before you get started, make sure you go to your view menu and your parameter view level. Now, with this, we can select what menu we're showing. So right now I've set the easy level. The easy level only gives us the very basic parameters. In this case, control type. As you remember before, there was about 7 or 8 parameters here. In this case, I can know what I'm doing, PID, batch, feed forward. I just select the mode that I want and away I go. PV, units, input type, and the range. And again, this is really all you're going to need for your very basic control. Your output, retransmission, your control output, and cycle time. This is what you want to show your customer as far as how simple this is to set up. Now, if you're starting to look at you, it's kind of like, well, okay, this seems pretty rudimentary. That's fine. Tell them, hey, well, we're in the easy mode. Now we can put this thing in the standard mode or the professional mode, And now we have a lot more control over the characteristics of the controller and what we can do with it. So you want to make sure you're showing that to him as well. So we have display, where we can change what the display looks like, custom select menus, the key locks and the menu locks. Again, I can customize who can go where and who's got access to what menus and what's actually displayed on the controller. So these are really nice as well. Digital input selections, the alarm settings, all these. So these are all your setup parameters, and basically these are going to be the base settings for your controller going into the application. So these are going to be set up one time. Once they're set, you come out of the menu, you don't set them again. Then you have your operating parameters, which are things that are going to be changed on a regular basis. So like your alarms, your set points, your PV parameters like your bias and your filter. These are things that a customer may want to change on a regular basis. Your PID parameters. So your tuning menu. And again, some of these are, there's a lot of stuff here. Let's go back to the easy mode. And again, all we're looking at is a super control here. PID, and again, this is probably all you need to be showing to your customer during that initial demo, unless he needs more than what's being shown here. Set point ramps. So again, we got a pretty simple controller to work with. In this case, if we need more, we just expand the capabilities by changing the menu structure, by changing the modes there. The other thing about this controller that's really nice, that most people don't even think about, is this controller is also a small mini PLC. So that PLC capability is built into this. So this is full-fledged ladder logic, DIO, the whole 9 yards. So with that, we can turn that capability on. So make sure you show this. If you don't do anything else, make sure you show that the ladder capability. So to access that, we go to the system data, and here it's asking for a ladder sequence function, and right now it says for don't use. Let's go ahead and use that and hit OK. Whoops, that's me to close the windows. Well, let's close the windows. Yes, let's save it. Let's just call that test. So I've done that before. And now we have a build ladder routine, a build ladder program. And it wants us to give it a name. Burnout connections. And really all this is asking for is if you've got a thermocouple on either the PV or the remote set point input, if the thermocouple burns out, do you want to produce an error? So yes, on the main PV, of course. On the remote set point, maybe you do, maybe you don't. But if that's important to you, which in most cases it should be, this allows you to determine whether or not that error is shown or not. Now we've got a basic screen here, a couple rails for building the ladder program. Now I've got 3 tabs down here at the bottom. First one is the output, is the input and the output. These parameters or these menus or ladders are already in place for the existing control strategy. So just basic single loop control, this is where these menus are already in place and the ladder is already written. The user ladder is an area for you to write your own custom ladder to do your own special function. Now, you don't have to use it, but you can program in either the input or the output ladder area, but this allows you to separate the one from the other. On the left here, you have your file structure with your system and parameter data, and you can open the parameter data here if you want as well and show them both together. So if I need to change some type of input parameter at the same time I'm doing some ladder, I can do that at the same time. So like a display here, I need to, well, maybe nothing here. I can make the change here and then go back to the ladder. Underneath that are all your instructions. And there are a wide variety of instructions, and most of these are your most common ladder instructions. You have your basics, timers, differential, up and down, load, ors, ands. You have greater than, less than comparative statements, your regular math statements, logical statements, Then you have your bit manipulation statements, your move statements. Then you have some more custom things such as temperature compensation, pressure compensation, things of those sorts. These are all available for you. So in this case, just building a ladder program is just as simple as it would be in an Allen Bradley or an FAM3. Building a ladder program would be just as easy as it would be in a FAM3 or even an Allen Bradley if you'd like using those. So let's build a simple ladder. And I can either drag the function from the left here, or I can select the function from the top menu bar and build a ladder here. So let's build something that's going to, and we can download it into the controller and just have it do something like flash a relay or a lamp or something simple. And again, this is all you should be doing with your demo. You shouldn't be doing very complicated things, just enough to show the customer, hey, this is what I can do. And in this case, as you look here, number of steps, I've got 500 ladder steps to work with. So, so it's a good deal of data to a lot of power in here you can work with. So let's just build something simple here. So let's take this and let's take that. That's going to be a main input. Let's have something flashing here, and let's have an output. So this input here needs to be like what we call always on, or in this program it's called PLS. So let's find a register for that. And below here, at the bottom box, there are all your registers. And this basically is every setup and every operational parameter that is in the controller, including special ladder parameters. So we can go through here and find anything that we may need that will help us. So in this case, special register, timers, counters, data registers for storing mathematical equations or results of math equations, status registers for bit inputs, constant registers for certain parameters we may need for calculations, things of that sort. I'm not finding what I'm looking for here. Special relays, there we go. So we want an always on register. So let's pull that over, and I can either double click here and type that register in by typing in PLS, and by typing those in, it's going to give me a list of everything that starts with the characters that I've typed. So once I get down to the point where I know what I'm looking for, I just hit the enter key, and that shows up there. The other thing I can do is I can just click and drag. So in this case, I've got a 1 second clock. I can click on that and just drag that to that relay input, and there we go. So again, it's very easy to build the program either by dragging the data from the left or typing it directly in. Now we're going to have an output here. This output is just going to be a input bit or an internal bit. So let's make that a M1, which is what we determine as well, that doesn't like that. M01, an internal bit. So now I've got it always on, a clock flashing at once per second, and an output there showing a once per second. So now, what are we going to do with that? We can have that go to a relay in the controller, or maybe we can have it flash. So let's have that flash this number 8 bit there, something simple. So again, this is something that after you tell the customer, he may be interested in this or he may not. You may show it to him if he is interested. If he's not, then please skip this, because this does get to be a little dry for a customer who is not interested in ladder programming. But if he is using PLCs or some small PLC, this is going to be very interesting to him. So we've got this M01 here. Now let's take that M01 and let's insert that into this setup parameter. Output, input, display. So we don't have anything here, so let's go ahead and make this a little larger. Let's make this view, rather than make it easy, let's make it standard so I can see a few more parameters. Actually, it looks like I'm going to need to make it professional so I can see a lot more parameters. Professional setting mode. Now, EV1 through EV8 are the display conditions, or it's that lamp on the next to the 1 through 8 on the main display here. So we're going to select number 8 there. Right now it's set for alarm 8. We're going to change that to M01. So anytime M01 is on, that lamp is going to be on there on the front of the controller. So to save, and then we called it test, and let's download. Communications allows me to upload and download any data, and we're going to download all. Okay, the upload and download is a little bit different than what you're typically used to. Typically, most people are used to when I finish a program and I'm going to send it to the controller or to some external device, I'm going to upload. Yokogawa has done this differently. It's actually a download. So we're downloading from our PC to, on what I like to think, the lower level device or the controller. I'm downloading that information to it. So just be careful with that because it is a little bit confusing. I'm going to download all. Do you want to perform the download? Yes. Okay, so the download is complete. So now that we've downloaded the program, we should probably see on the front of the controller, yes we do, number 8 is flashing at a regular interval. This is coming from that ladder program that we just wrote. So neat thing about it, we can see it there on the controller, but somebody who's used to using ladder program wants to actually see that operating on the computer and making sure that what he's doing is actually working properly. So let's close this and we're going to go to the online monitor. And it's going to allow us to see what's going on in it. So the monitor ladder program. And now what we're looking at is we're looking at that actually operating. Looks like it's running just a little bit slow, but we're getting the point. So the clock signal is flashing, is going on and off. The M01 is flashing and changing state, and we're seeing that occur here on the front of the controller. So we know that the ladder program is working properly. So that's something that we can show very easily. So some of the other things we can do here, let's go ahead and close that. We have timers and counters, things of that sort. Let's make something really simple. Let's make a simple latch that holds for 10 seconds. So we have this. Actually, this is what this should be here. And again, I wouldn't go this far unless I got a guy who understands ladder logic. So you may just show how easy this is, and then hopefully I'm kind of giving you the impression that this is not that difficult to do. So what we're going to do here is this is going to be a timer. This is going to be this is on off. So let's change this clock function here. This is PLS1. Let's go ahead and kill this. We're just going to make this one big cool program. And we have key functions here. So let's take, I have to look this up, register. All right, let's take a key function here. And let's assume we're going to start this process by doing a F1 key. The F1 key is here, and we're going to use that F1 key. I don't know what it's doing. It doesn't look like it's programmed for anything. But we're going to program it to start this basic process. So we're going to take this F1 key, status, drag it up here. So that's going to start the process. M01 is going to come on when that starts. Actually, I don't even think we need that. That's going to be pretty neat. So let's kill this. Delete. Let's make this let's make this F1 key. Let's make this M01. Make this M01. This is going to be a latch. It's going to pull this in. So when F1 key is on, this is going to be This should probably be our timer. Timer 1, because this timer here is gonna run for 10 seconds. So when it elapses, it's going to change state. It's going to turn this off. So we're going to bring that on. That's going to come on, and maybe we'll have it do something else here, which would be kind of neat. So this should be MO1. Timer, we should make this a clock. We're going to make this a 1 second clock. This is going to be timer 1. And then we're going to make this a K value. Let's make this K value KO1. K is a constant value, and a constant value is just some value that we can store in here to use as a variable in the menu. So KO1, we're going to go to Tools and set a constant. That constant here is 0. Let's make that 10. So this is going to come on MO1. MO1 comes on. Timer is going to count. It's going to count down from 10 to 0. When that occurs, we're going to turn that off. So the other thing I might want to do here is, well, we got that flashing light there on the front, so we want that to run for the 10 seconds. So let's add one more. Let's make this MO2. So MO2 is going to be the clock frequency, so it's just going to pulse on and off as long as MO1 is pulled in and the timer hasn't elapsed. So it's getting to be a little complicated, but you can show the power in the controller. So let's go ahead and save this. The other thing we need to do is we need to change that display lamp from MO1 to MO2. So let's go do that. Display MO1 there. Change that to MO2. Save. Download, again, download rather than upload. Download all. Yes. Download is complete. And as you can see here, the light has stopped flashing. But let's go ahead and turn the monitor on so we can see everything at the same time. Okay, so we got the ladder running here. The timer is off. The clock is pulsing. You don't see it so often, but it is. The other thing we don't see is the data in the timer. Any of the digital data, anything that's not a bit, can be displayed by turning on your display under Monitor, your detailed view. So if we click on the detailed view, we can see that the timer is set for 10 seconds because KO1 is set for 10. So now that that's on, let's go ahead and start the process. So we're going to click F1 on the front of the instrument. It's going to turn that on. It's going to start the process. MO1 is pulled in, the clock frequency is there, and the lamp on the front is flashing. We're counting down to 0. Okay, so we reset. The light stopped flashing. The program is over. So again, very simple to use. And again, this little program here is load factor 14, not so much computational data is being used here. So we can build a pretty powerful program. And this is just some of the very basic stuff that we can do with the controllers.